What we do in Verdansk will pave the way for the rise of Greater Russia.
Hello everyone, my name is Cheesy Maple Syrup, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've had some ideas kind of sitting in the back of my head for a bit about how we could improve Warzone, how we could make it less frustrating and overall just more fun. The gameplay you're seeing is just some Warzone gameplay. It's just a solo match. I think I got to second place, like 14 kills or something like that. I almost had the win, but the final guy, he kind of caught me off guard. You know, it happens. But anyways, without further ado, let's just jump right into this. The first change I would make is increasing the cost of loadout drops. Now, this is a pretty common one. Like, I've heard this on YouTube, I've heard people say this, you know, that I know personally. And I agree with it. Currently, Warzone pretty much just revolves around loadouts. Like, nothing else matters really except for getting the 10,000 and gearing up. Not having a loadout in the end game, it essentially means you're screwed because everyone is kitted out with the best of the best gear. This creates a sort of a zero room for error kind of like situation, and I find it adds to the frustration and makes Warzone less enjoyable. So now this is something that people might not think is a good idea, but I think they should also experiment with the idea of either removing loadout drops from the shop, meaning that you can only get them randomly from random drops, or just entirely remove the loadouts from Warzone. I don't think this should be permanent by any means, but I think it's something worth experimenting with, just to see how it kind of changes the game. So moving on, number 2, the next thing I would consider changing is introducing specialist cards into Warzone from Black Ops Cold War. Now, I know this may sound kind of unbalanced. You know, like for example, imagine doing an AMAX with, 8 attachments? That'd be pretty ridiculous. But I think it could maybe work if you have a trade-off. I think if they were to introduce the specialist cards into Warzone, the trade-off would be you have to sacrifice all 3 of your perks. So I think that would maybe balance it out, but I don't know. This one's more of just kind of a fun idea as opposed to like a super serious I'm not a dev. I'm not I'm just a fan of the games, but I just think this could be a fun and interesting way to change it up a little, and I think it would promote more diversity in player loadouts, which really I think we need more of that. Up next, number 3, we have Ghost. Now, the Ghost perk, as we all know, allows you to essentially just sit in a corner for as long as you want and just passively exist in the lobby basically. And I don't think that's healthy really for the longevity of the game, or it's frustrating, it's not enjoyable at all to deal with. So I think making Ghost work Black Ops style, where you have to be consistently moving around in order for Ghost to work, I think that would be a good choice. I would say maybe experiment with taking Ghost out of the game, but I don't think that's a good idea because of UAVs and also because of heartbeat sensors. So that's more of a, hypothetical, like experimental kind of idea. Moving on, number 4, I think that there should be no attachments on Gulag loadouts. And the reason I say this is simply just to reduce frustration, because let's be honest, no one wants to use a super slow sniper with an ACOG scope on it or a Magnum with all slow attachments. No one wants to use that. It's frustrating, and a lot of times those gulags just end up being a punching gulag anyways, so really it's pointless. I think it'd be much better if we just had base weapons in the gulag. Number 5, we need to fix those damn rocks. Seriously. This is also a very common one. I think at least I've heard it a fair bit. Honestly, I understand. If I'm trying to climb a cliffside, yeah, I shouldn't be able to climb that. If I'm just trying to mantle over some rocks to get away from the storm or something, that shouldn't be an issue. It really shouldn't. But at this point, this has been a problem since launch. I don't think it's going to change. Number 6, this is a very easy one. Flat open areas like military base and airport, for example, they need more options for cover because it's just it's a killing field. Like, quite honestly, I pretty much avoid places like military base and airport like the plague, or I guess like a certain other virus that I'm not gonna name. But you get the point. I I absolutely hate these locations because of how little cover there is. So I think that's a very easy change they could make that would make these locations, less frustrating. Number 7, I think we should have more contracts and events. So contracts being like bounties or the recon contract, supply run, things like that, and events would be things like jailbreak, or fire sale. Like, I think there should be more of that stuff. There really isn't a lot, and we haven't seen much change to that since like the early days of Warzone. So just some like ideas I had. Capture the flag contract. Basically, let's say you pick it up, a flag's marked somewhere on the map. Once you pick up the flag, you must deliver it to a designated location, which is visible to everyone in the lobby on the map. Like other contracts, success would yield money, XP, loot, all that good stuff. And then for events, like maybe a King of the Hill kind of event. So there's a designated area on the map. It's marked for everybody to see. And basically it's up to you. It's optional. You can do it or not, but if you want to, you can head to the location and, base up and basically just survive as long as you can. And if you're able to survive, you'll get some really powerful rewards. Another idea I had was maybe a heist event. So say multiple heist locations will be marked on the map. And again, optional. It's up to you. But if you want some cool loot, you can go to these areas and you can loot them for, there'd probably be like legendary chests everywhere and stuff like that. Like just really good top tier loot. So I think that would create a lot of contested areas and, I think it would kind of spice up the gameplay a little. I don't know. But those are just a couple ideas I had. Number 8, better integration with Black Ops items. This is another one that I think would be pretty easy. So what I'm talking about is like emblems and calling cards and stuff like that. The integration's not the greatest. Like you've got your battle pass stuff, but it's like anything you unlock via Black Ops, as far as I'm aware, you can't use in Warzone. So it's like, okay, like I don't really get that. And same goes for the prestige shop, and the custom rank icons. They're in Black Ops, but not Warzone, and I don't really understand why. So I don't know. I just think this would be a really easy, simple change that, it'd just be cool. It'd be cool to, have custom prestige icons, for example, in Warzone. Number 9, this is another pretty simple one. I think they should remove the player requirement on custom lobbies. Maybe even add the option for bots. Just for like goofing around with friends or practicing. And I think it would also be good for the stats people to, do their thing. It's just a simple change, really. Not super important or anything, but just something I thought of that I figured I'd add. Number 10, we've got another really simple one. Add Dark Aether and other zombie camos to Warzone. I don't understand why this wasn't a thing to begin with, but better late than never, right? This may already be in the works. I believe I read somewhere that like it is in the works. It's just there's no date or timeline or anything on that, but that could just be rumors and hearsay. But I mean, either way, it would just be a nice thing to have. especially for the zombies players. I feel bad for them. But I guess it's not the first time that the zombies players have been given the shaft. Number 11, this is another simple one. FOV slider for PS5 and Xbox Series X and maybe S, because why not? I understand that the Xbox One and PS4 might not be able to handle it, but with these new consoles, like there's no reason they shouldn't be able to handle that. So yeah, just another simple one that I think would be really nice to have. Number 12, this is another simple one. After this, we're going to get into some more spicy ones. For this one, just no more pointless floor loot. Just again to reduce the frustration, make Warzone more fun to play. All floor loot weapons should at least be bare minimum somewhat viable. Looking at you, M60, we don't we don't need guns like that for floor loot. That is just no. No. No more of that. Okay, now we're getting into the spicier ones. So, number 13, I think they need to either rework or completely remove the field upgrades. As we all know, stopping power and dead silence add a lot of frustration to Warzone by making the game feeling wonky and inconsistent. This is a pretty common complaint. Like, everyone that I know that plays Warzone complains about this, so this is nothing new per se, but I have to mention it. I can't not talk about it. Dead silence, first off, it's flat out unfair. I'm sorry, but in a game where footstep audio is crucial, dead silence is flat out unfair, and that's just the way I see it. Like, a lot of times being on the receiving end of dead silence, it makes you question, like, am I crazy? Or did the game screw up? Or, like, what happened? And then you watch the kill cam and you're like, oh, he's using dead silence. I should have figured. Who enjoys that? I certainly don't. And as for stopping power, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Being on the receiving end of stopping power, a lot of times it makes me question myself. It makes me question the game. It makes me question the person that killed me. It oftentimes leaves me feeling like I didn't even get a chance to fight. And then again, you watch the kill cam and you're like, oh, well, shit, I should have known. I don't particularly have any issues with the deployable shield. I don't know. It works as intended. It's not super busted or anything. Like, yeah, I don't know. Trophy systems, I don't really have an issue with them, except for people putting them on their vehicles, especially in solos, because this aids in the vehicle camping crap that's going on in solos. So for that reason, I don't like the trophy system. But yeah, long story short, I think they should either rework or just completely remove the field upgrades. Number 14, this is a rather spicy one. I think there should be either a 5, 10, maybe even 15-second like invincibility stage when you get knocked down. And on top of that, I think the self-revive needs to go. The reason I say this is because I find playing quads, trios, duos, whatever, stupidly annoying just simply because it's not about team play and it's not about team fighting. What it all comes down to is simply picking people and finishing them one at a time. And I think that defeats the whole point of playing with teammates. Quite honestly, if everyone's going to finish you the second you go down, there's no point in having a going down phase. Like, you might as well just go straight to the gulag. Now, again, I'm not a game dev, I'm not an expert per se, but again, this is just an idea I think would be worth looking into, or maybe even experimenting with for, like, say, a week or two and just see what happens. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. And finally, number 15. This is the one I've been waiting to talk about since the start of the video. And technically, this wasn't my idea. I actually got this from a friend of mine. All vehicles should have a fuel meter, which goes down as the vehicle's driven. And no, No jerry cans. This isn't Fortnite. Once the vehicle runs out of fuel, it is done. So I don't know if I need to go into much explanation on this one. Really, it's just because of the vehicle camping, especially in solos. It's extremely unfun. It totally ruins it for me. Like, I can't even count the amount of matches I've played that have been really good matches that end with me getting squashed by a Big Bertha, and I'm over it. So I think this change alone. You know what? You know what, Raven? Forget about the other 14. I don't even care. I don't care about the other 14. This one right here. Do it. Make it happen. Please make it fucking happen. But yeah, that is my list. That is all I had. Let me know in the comments if you agreed or disagreed with any of these points, and if you have any ideas of your own, feel free to share. That's it for me. Thank you very much for watching, and this is Cheesy Maple Syrup signing off.
Target is marked. Go for strike.
This is Striker 3-1. Good copy. Strike inbound. Impact, no joy.
Gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. Losing ground. Enemy UAV overhead. moving in. New safe zone located. Friendly loadout drop on the way.
Location marked. Let's move.
Gas is moving. Enemy UAV overhead. Nine enemies are still active. Hunt them down. Gas is moving in. New safe zone located. Enemy UAV overhead. Gas is moving. 5 remain. Stay sharp. Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone. Gas is inbound. You were one of 5 remaining. Learn from the loss. Failure's a proper teacher.